go.
Yes.
So, by the show of hands, how many of you guys here have had cold Starbucks drink in the past week? What about In-N-Out milkshake or any soda drinks from any fast food restaurant? And as you guys can see, that's a lot of us, right? And what do we do after we're done finishing all those drinks? And I believe that many of us here, being good citizens that we are, our first instinct is probably going to throw it in the recycle bins or the compostable one, right? And even though that seems to be a good thing to do, actually it's not. It's not really fully a good thing to do, as even though those cups do end up being recycled and also being composed, there's just one little thing that we tend to forget and kind of take for granted that it will be recyclable, which actually it's not. And that one little thing that I'm mentioning is the plastic straws. As according to Slow Integrated Waste Management, the website said that every day in Slow there would be more than 400,000 plastic straws that would just go totally to landfill. And you may ask yourself, wait, I thought those plastic straws is made out of plastic that can be recyclable, right? It is, but then during the process of recycle, those straws are way too small that it falls into the gap or conveyor and then end up in the landfill instead. And once I found out this fact from my girlfriend, I was like, oh, well, that's surprising. But it's just a little straw, right? Like, what can it actually do? Like, it's just this long. But then I didn't take into account that it's not just me, as we have all been raising hands of being a victim of using these plastic straws almost daily. It adds up. And according to the article, Driving Instrumental Sales with Drinks by Jordan Menico, it has been proven that majority of the fast food restaurants here in the United States serve their drinks in a way that they force the customer to only use plastic straw in order to drink their drinks. And that adds up and resulted in more than 500 million plastic straws that would just go to waste per day. Let me repeat that again, per day. And to paint you guys a somewhat kind of clearer picture, if you put that straws, all of those straws from end to end and create this one long pole of straws, it will be as long as that it can even wrap around the earth 2.5 times. Add that to other 2 days of straw waste, we can have this pole that would just even reach to the moon. And even though that seems a lot, but why haven't we seen this kind of waste before? And because that most of these waste do end up in the ocean. As according to the article in CNN, how much of our plastic garbage end up at the sea by Madison Park, that was published in 2015, there were 288 million metric tons of plastic waste in landfill, and 12 million of those do end up in the ocean. And even though most of these wastes are contributed by a lot of many Southeastern Asian countries, the United States of America actually hit the top 20 list of the country that produce the most plastic waste. And ultimately, it's all of us responsibilities, as the ocean is just like a bowl of soup that there's no escape, and there's always going to be plastic waste in there. And which resulted in the study that was conducted by Marcus Ericsson, and he published this in his journal called Plastic Pollution in the World Oceans, that there's 5 trillion pieces of plastic just laying on the top of the surface of ocean right now. And that doesn't even take into account of the plastics that are sinking into the deeper ocean. And even though all of us humans have been treating ocean almost as this closet that we can just throw everything that we don't want to see, eventually someone will find out. And it might not be us, but it definitely going to be the marine life, marine biology that going to totally be affected by this. And there was this one clip that I believe many of you guys have seen in 2015, that there's this one sea turtle whose nostril got stuck by this one plastic. Sorry, this one plastic straw that we thought is recyclable, but it's not. And as according to the article in National Geographic, how the sea turtle get a straw up to its nose, that when the biologists found the sea turtle, they described the sea turtle as suffocating. he cannot breathe, he cannot do what he wanted to do because there's just one plastic. I'm sorry, I got really emotional. There's just this one plastic straw that just we tend to forget that it actually can cause harm to this creature. So what I want to present to you guys today is what we can do. Personal in just this personal level, we don't even have to go big, but it can cause a really positive effect. So if you guys are looking for the answer, it's just right below your nose. You don't have to go that far. You don't have to go super big. You don't have to be like a president or to like make this change to happen. But you can start small. Start with you guys. And it might seem obvious, but when you go to a restaurant or Starbucks or cafe, just ask for no straw. It might seem simple, but we tend to overlook this as many of us have adopted this kind of culture of we have to use straw every time we take it to go out drink. But we can totally avoid that by just asking for no lids and maybe sip a couple of drinks, a couple of sips of your drinks before you actually start walking. Or you can even put the lid on top and like hold on to that until you have a safe place and you can just drink it without straw. But if you guys are one of the people who can't live without straw, like Alana, like we were talking about it, there's also this alternative way of doing so. You can use a straw that's made out of paper, metal, or even bamboo. But I would avoid the straw that's made out of bioplastic, even though it seems to be claimed as degradable. But according to the article called Environmental Analysis of Plastic Production Process, those bioplastic actually takes a lot more energy to actually produce one. And even though it's degradable, it still uses a lot of water and our natural resources to actually make that plastic to be produced. And once you accomplish that kind of goal, you can go a little bigger. But I'm not even talking about a national kind of level. You can even start by going to your local businesses. And you can do that by according to the campaign Be Straw Free that was cited in EcoCycle. There was this campaign that was started by just this one 9 years old, whose name is Milo Crisis. And his thought is that as we go to each local business, we can observe how the drinks are served. We can see if the drinks are served with straws, and if it does, then maybe you can speak to the restaurant waiter or even manager if you got a chance and talk about how they can change their straw policy, make the customer ask for it, unless make the customer actually ask for straw, but if they don't, just don't serve them. But if you're not the kind of people who would just go up front and talk to them about this kind of people, you can even leave a note too, and that's going to be totally effective. And you might be asking yourself, does this really campaign going to work? And I asked myself that question too, and it actually does. As there's this one bar in Brooklyn called Freehold Bar, who just changed their straw policy a year ago, but the impact is unbelievable. As the last year that they changed the policy, they reduced more than 1.5 million straws that would just go into waste in landfill. And you can even see it here in our Slow community, as Scouts starting to use not just the compostable plastic cup, but also using the paper straw when they serve their milkshakes. And even though this seems to be all promising, you can't just take a show and just don't do anything about it, as it can be seen that other people have been doing it, because we need everyone to actually make this goal to be accomplished. As according to the article, Plastic Waste Input from Land to the Ocean by J.R. Jarmbek, that if we don't start now, by the year of 2025, the amount of plastic waste that we have is going to be to the point that it's almost the point of no return. It's going to be too unbearable, because we're going to be using many of our natural resources to produce those plastic, and it's just going to be lying on top of the ocean in a way that we can't even get it out. And also it will affect our marine biology in a way that is even more disturbing than that sea turtle who's got his straw on his nostril. As according to the article, Seracine and Marine Debris, the Greatest Unknown, this sea creature, even if it's a turtle or a fish, after they being exposed to this plastic, they tend to swallow them as they would think that it's food, and will go into their digestive tract, and it can even cause their digestive problem, and it can even be fatal sometimes. And if that's not even convincing enough for you, this can also affect us directly, as according to the article that was produced by the CA Coastal Commission, that the problem with marine debris is that once it's getting to all this fish, it can actually affect us in the way that it will take away our food resources, as it can be as the study has shown that 28% of this fish in Indonesian coast and also 25% on Californian coast, the fish, 25% of those fish are actually infected by this plastic infection, and that can cause us to have also a digestive problem as well. So what I want to conclude is that please take an action. And as I mentioned earlier, it's this small action that you can just do, and it won't take you guys that much courage to do so. Just go up to either Starbucks barista or Starbucks cashier and just ask, no straw please, or no lids. Or even go to your favorite restaurant and ask for no straws. And if we all do that, it's not just going to help these little guys, but it's also going to help us, help the world planet to be a better place for us and next generation to live. And we can all be happy and also kind of observe this amazing, amazing creature that's going to last for us for many years to come. Thank you.